Welcome to today's Explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this highly dense news day and, translate all this daily chaos directly into bureaucratic clarity for your general studies papers. Because as UPSC aspirants, you know the drill. Reading the news isn't just about knowing what happened. It's about knowing exactly where it fits into your syllabus.
Here is your syllabus mapping blueprint for today. We're covering polity with the 2026 Assembly elections, international relations, focusing on West Asia and Nepal, urban disasters, and then wrapping the whole thing up with a prelims rapid fire and a mains framework.
Section 1. Polity. Assembly Elections 2026. Okay, there is a massive prelims trap hiding in plain sight right here. You absolutely need to memorize these specific majority marks, especially Assam's 64 out of 126 seats and West Bengal's 148 out of 294. Also, just look at those voter turnouts. West Bengal hit a staggering 92.47%, and Puducherry wasn't far behind at 91.23%. These aren't just statistics, right? They represent the sheer, monumental scale of electoral participation in India.
But think about it. How does the Election Commission actually manage a mammoth task like this? Well, map this directly to your static notes. The deployment of 432 counting observers across West Bengal to monitor those 294 seats, that is a direct textbook application of Article 324's mandate for free and fair elections. Article 324 is your constitutional anchor here. It's what gives the ECI the power of superintendence, direction, and control of elections.
Section 2. International Relations, West Asia, and Nuclear Diplomacy.
The crucial point for us here is just how quickly circumstances are evolving on the ground. Following the assassination of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, we're seeing the rapid rise of Mojtaba Khamenei as the new supreme leader. Meanwhile, Iran has submitted a 14-point plan to end the conflict, with Pakistan stepping in to mediate. But guys, here is the real geopolitical alarm bell. Iran now possesses roughly 500 kilograms of uranium, enriched to 60%. When you consider that weapons grade requires 90% enrichment, this stockpile pushes them dangerously close to the breakout time. We're talking just a few weeks away from nuclear capability.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates the static foundation behind today's headlines. It tracks the collapse of the 2015 JCPOA directly to Iran's current status. The Non-Proliferation Treaty back in 1968 set the baseline, right? Then the 2015 JCPOA capped Iran's enrichment at 3.67%. But the U.S.'s unilateral withdrawal in 2018 shattered that entire framework. And that leads us directly to today, where Iran essentially operates as a threshold state, meaning they're a country with the capability, but not quite yet the possession of nuclear weapons.
Let's pause for a second and test your active recall. Take a look at this authentic JCPOA prelims question. Notice how Statement 3 acts as the classic trap, claiming India was a signatory. But what's the reality? India was never a signatory to the JCPOA. Nor is India a signatory to the NPT. We maintain our strategic autonomy. Always keep this trap in mind, because UPSC loves to test your knowledge of India's exact membership status in these big international agreements.
Section 3. International Relations. Nepal border dispute resurfaces.
So, the Lipu Lake-Kalapani dispute has flared up once again. You need to be able to clearly contrast the opposing arguments here. Nepal's new Prime Minister, Balindra Shah, is relying entirely on the 1816 Treaty of Sugauli to claim the region, whereas India's Ministry of External Affairs firmly points to established administrative precedent, specifically our continuous use of the Lipu Lake Pass for the Kailash Manasarova Yatra since 1954. Adding a whole new layer of tension to this is PM Shah's highly restrictive diplomatic protocol, where he's actually refusing to meet foreign envoys.
To really understand the geopolitical leverage we have here, remember this massive figure, 63.01%. That represents Nepal's trade dependence on India, amounting to over $8 billion in the 2023-2024 period. So, despite all the heated border rhetoric, the economic reality of the 1950 Treaty of Peace and Friendship and our open borders heavily tethers Nepal's economy to India.
Section 4. Disaster Management. Urban Fire Safety Crisis.
If you get a mains question analyzing systemic urban failures, maybe something like, critically evaluate the efficacy of the National Building Code in preventing urban fire tragedies, this is quite literally your mental blueprint. It links the immediate Vivek Vihar tragedy, which tragically claimed 9 lives, to systemic architectural failures and ultimately to a total regulatory collapse. Why did this tragedy happen?
because single staircases acted as chimneys and iron grills physically trapped the residents. And why on earth were these allowed? Simple. The National Building Code of 2016 and the Disaster Management Act of 2005 are simply not being uniformly enforced at the municipal level.
Take a mental screenshot of this slide. For urban disaster preparedness, these are the exact actionable framework suggestions you need to write. You can't just list the problems in your paper. You have to offer solutions as a future administrator. Advocate for mandatory retrofitting. Call for strict fire audits for any building over 3 floors. Push for third-party certifications to bypass local corruption and the integration of digital compliance tracking.
Section 5. Prelims Rapid Fire. High-Yield Syllabus Revision.
Let's rapid fire through some high-yield facts you absolutely can't miss. First up, Delhi Metro Phase V has been greenlit for over 48,000 crores, and it's heavily relying on Japanese JICA loans. Second, keep a close eye on the ongoing judicial debates in the Karnataka High Court regarding online censorship, specifically the tensions around Section 66A and 69A of the IT rules. And third, AI regulation is fast becoming a core GS3 topic, particularly regarding the immense corporate power held by entities like OpenIA and Palantir.
Okay, check out this high-probability environment MCQ regarding India's carbon credit trading scheme. Crucially, this scheme was established under the Energy Conservation Amendment Act of 2022, which empowered the Bureau of Energy Efficiency to establish a domestic carbon market. Do not, I repeat, do not confuse this with the older PAT, or Perform, Achieve, and Trade scheme. They are two entirely distinct things.
Now, testing your science and tech knowledge. Does the 1967 Outer Space Treaty prohibit all weapons in space? Actually, no, it doesn't. It only bans weapons of mass destruction, like your nuclear, biological, or chemical weapons. Surprisingly, it doesn't explicitly ban conventional weapons in space. It does, however, correctly declare space as the province of all mankind and strictly prohibits claims of national sovereignty.
Section 6. Mains Frameworks. Structuring your final answer.
So, how would you actually tackle this exact prompt regarding the Lipulekh-Kalapani dispute? India's neighborhood-first policy is being tested by a series of simultaneous challenges from Nepal. Critically examine.
Your answer has to be exactly this systematic. Ground your introduction in the 2014 establishment of the Neighborhood First policy, and make sure to emphasize Nepal's vital role as a strategic buffer state. Then, in your first body paragraph, bring in the historical context. Contrast the 1816 Treaty of Sugali with India's 2020 political map. In the second body paragraph, address the current friction, specifically pointing out PM Shah's restrictive diplomatic protocols. And finally, conclude with a strong, forward-looking statement on the absolute need for balancing strategic patience with our established administrative rights.
I want to leave you with this thought as future bureaucrats directly inspired by today's highly complex news. Diplomacy and governance are not about perfect solutions, but managing complex realities. Whether it's navigating a nuclear threshold state in West Asia, handling a border dispute with a close neighbor, or confronting an urban fire crisis right in our capital, there are no simple fixes. So, as you dive back into your notes tonight, ask yourself this. If you're the diplomat in the room tomorrow, which would you sacrifice first? Historical precedent or economic leverage? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep studying hard, and I'll see you next time. If you're ready to really practice all 8 mains questions from today's news, and you want to get your hands on prelims MCQs and detailed notes, go ahead and download the complete PDF. Just scan the QR code on your screen or use the link in the description to join our Telegram channel. Keep up the amazing work, stay consistent, and I will see you in the next explainer.